Backstage reaction to Adam Copeland signing with All Elite Wrestling from both the WWE camp and the AEW camp has been revealed. Copeland's also spoken about using his old entrance theme in All Elite Wrestling as well as his future plans moving forward. Christian Cage has reacted to the former Edge's arrival in AEW too. MJF denies that he was the person who attacked Jay White wearing the devil mask on AEW Dynamite last week. Bryan Danielson defeats Zack Sabre Jr. in a dream match at the WrestleDream pay-per-view. Swerve Strickland defeats Hangman Adam Page. FTR retain the tag team title, setting up a future showdown with the Young Bucks as they are the new number one contenders for the titles. Also an update on Rey Fenix, who was pulled from the match early on through injury. Chris Statlander retains the TBS Championship, and Eddie Kingston is still the Ring of Honor World Champion as well as the New Japan Strong Openweight Champion too. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. And the biggest story is the WWE Hall of Famer Edge, now known as Adam Copeland. His real name making his debut in All Elite Wrestling. Adam Copeland, if you're not aware, has arrived in AEW. At the conclusion of Sunday's AEW WrestleDream, Christian Cage retained the AEW TNT Championship against Darby Allin, thanks to help from his new ally Nick Wayne. As Wayne, Cage, and Luchasaurus were ready to put the finishing touches on their assault on Darby Allin and Sting. The lights went out and a Grindhouse-inspired video showed an anonymous man driving a fancy car through Seattle. Copeland's trademark Metalingus theme by Alter Bridge blared through the Climate Pledge Arena, and Copeland appeared through the fog of smoke and pyrotechnics. Initially feigning an alliance with Cage and company, Copeland attacked all three men, and it led to, as I mentioned, Copeland making a shocking AEW debut, which certainly several enjoyed. Again, he feigned this alliance with Cage and company. Copeland attacked all three men, hitting a huge spear on Luchasaurus as well as Nick Wayne, saving Sting and Darby Allin from further harm. Refusing to take the side of his longtime friend, Copeland then shared a handshake with his fellow Hall of Famer Sting as the pay-per-view went off the air. Of course, it was later confirmed by Tony Khan indeed that this was a full-time situation. He had signed full-time. He's going to be on Dynamite this week as well as Collision. Also, his first AEW in-ring match will be taking place on October 10 against Luchasaurus. Now, Edge has actually taken to social media, or should I say Adam Copeland has taken to social media to explain his departure from WWE as well. Copeland, as I mentioned, made his AEW debut in the closing moments of Sunday's WrestleDream pay-per-view, saving Sting and Darby Allin from a beatdown at the hands of Nick Wayne, Luchasaurus, and his old friend Christian Cage. The popular star has now taken to Twitter to address the move, noting that he felt like he and WWE had outgrown each other. Opening up on his in-ring future, Copeland wrote the following. He said, quote, "From the desk of, as some of you may now know, I am no longer with WWE. My new home is AEW. I'm excited, whole new roster, some familiar faces that I wanted to work with again, and a whole set of first ever matches, new challenges, and if you followed my career, you know that's what I've always been driven by." He continues by saying, "But first and foremost, I want to address my 25 years with WWE. I love WWE and appreciate everything the company did for me, always have, always will. They put me on the map, gave me amazing opportunities, and through hard work on both ends, I've been supplied with a wonderful life. Hell, WWE helped me meet the woman I'd start my family with. Sometimes relationships just grow apart, and I feel the WWE and I have just outgrown each other. I wanted to do more. They didn't have much more for me to do. Simple as that. And that's okay. I'll still be watching and still be supporting all of my friends there. I don't buy into this odd mentality of one company or the other. It's weird. If you took offense to that, take a walk, get some fresh air, and soak up some sunshine. It's wrestling. An amazing gig, but still, it's wrestling. Relax. It's supposed to be fun. And it's just a segment of the fans, not most fans, and definitely not the performers. Within the industry, we all know that more choices is better for everyone and pushes us all to be better. As a wrestling fan, which I still am, it's exciting and that there's viable companies providing wrestling on national and worldwide platforms. If you're actually a fan of wrestling and not acronyms, then that should make you happy too." He then concluded by saying, "I guess what I'm trying to say is this. If you've appreciated my work, you still can, no matter what the initials are, because I'll still be busting my ass every time I'm out there. This ride isn't over just yet. Just try to have fun like it should be. Because trust me, I'll be having fun every time I'm out there in an AEW ring. let's go. So Edge explaining his reasons for leaving WWE, as well as signing with AEW as well. As far as sort of the backstage reaction from both companies, Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Selectors provided a bit of an update as it comes to the reaction within AEW, as well as the reaction within WWE. Edge will now of course, be known as Adam Copeland, and he is indeed All Elite. Fightful said they have already spoken to a number of sources within AEW, which have been unanimously positive in terms of the reception to Copeland joining the company. In addition to being around full-time in AEW, Fightful are told that Copeland will have a significant presence within the company and has expressed his willingness to help in a variety of capacities. One longtime AEW talent said that Copeland spoke about Copeland filling the gap that CM Punk left behind, in that he'll be helpful and not cause any issues internally, although that person did reiterate that CM Punk himself had been helpful to many within the company as well, but certainly that sort of senior figure that can help bridge that gap now that CM Punk is gone, Copeland could help fill that very well and help in a variety of different capacities as opposed to just being an in-ring talent and performer. Regarding his entrance theme that many people were wondering about, WWE never held exclusive licensing rights to the song, as it had been speculated and really kind of figured out previously. However, there were some surprised people within AEW that WWE had allowed the Rated R Superstar trademark to lapse and didn't bother to renew it when it became clear he was going to leave. This story, as I mentioned on the post-show last night, is actually quite old. It was reported back in May of 2020 that WWE had allowed that trademarks to lapse, so that trademark's actually been available for 3 years, well, over 3 years, and now Edge seemingly, or AEW, has ownership of it. Some within WWE said that it became obvious to them at the start of the summer that Edge wasn't returning to the company. One AEW talent said that they were not, quote, officially clued in, but that it was the worst kept secret in wrestling. Talent in AEW and WWE both spoke about Adam Copeland jumping ship as if it was going to happen as far back as mid-August. Sources that had worked with Copeland spoke as if it was fact even before his last WWE match, though many were not told in an official capacity until well after that. Throughout this weekend, WWE and AEW talent started speaking very matter-of-fact about the possibility of Copeland joining. Copeland was kept somewhat hidden backstage, but admitted that he popped out to hang out with Darby Allin and get food, and he had been in town all weekend. He actually spoke at the post-show press conference that he filmed his intro video actually on Friday and over the weekend with Darby Allin in Seattle as well. Now, WWE sources that Fightful spoke to claim that Adam Copeland left on good terms and would be welcomed back into the company if indeed he ever returned. The overwhelming consensus was positive within AEW and a, quote, happy for him within WWE. So no heat on either side about anything like that. Now, we spoke about the entrance music, and Edge has actually opened up about his iconic theme song and why it was important for him to debut with it at WrestleDream. As I mentioned, Copeland made his AEW debut on Sunday, entering to the familiar tune of Alter Bridge's Metalingus. In the post-WrestleDream media scrum, the man formerly known as Edge discussed why he intends to keep using the song wherever he goes and how he secured its use for his AEW debut. He said the following, quote, Alter Bridge are my friends. Mark Tremonti, who wrote that song, is a very good friend. So that song's with me wherever I go. So that's very important to me, said the Hall of Famer. He remembered hearing the song for the first time and immediately knew he wanted it as his theme. He said, quote, to me, I've always been very musically motivated, and it sets the tone for a character, and it also sets the tone for Adam to get in that place, explained Copeland. And that music, from the first time I heard it in Mark's house after I dropped a beer in his foyer, after just meeting him, he played that one for me with his scratch lyrics on it, and I was out with a neck injury, and I was like, can I have that song? Absolutely, dude. And we just met. Now, Copeland emphasized the song's importance and mentioned that he called Tremonti before his AEW debut to request permission to use it once more, saying, quote, and 20 years later, here we are. And I called Mark and said, what do you think? Mark replied, absolutely. That answer was not going to change, and that was really, really pivotal and important to me, and it would have been weird to come out to something else, said the new AEW star. So indeed, that's how he got it, because he's good friends with the band as well. Now, Christian Cage has also spoken up about his old friend showing up in AEW. Christian Cage had the following to say, quote, I said this at the last scrum. I don't have any friends other than Luchasaurus. Was I surprised to see him? Yes. Did I care? Not really. It doesn't change anything for me. I'm still the face of TNT. I'm still the TNT champion. I'm still the man to beat in AEW. You understand that, right? Cage went on to argue that he made the TNT Championship more prestigious than MJF's AEW World Championship as well, saying, quote, "A few short months ago, people were saying this title meant nothing. I've taken it and main evented WrestleDream tonight. I made this title. This title, in my opinion, is more prestigious than the world title, mainly because I carry it. But I think my track record speaks for itself, and I think you have to give me my flowers now. Do you not?" So Christian certainly saying that he had no idea Edge was going to be there, but he doesn't care because Adam Copeland isn't his friend. Now, the AEW World Champion, we spoke about MJF there. He was actually asked about Adam Copeland's arrival in All Elite Wrestling as well. And MJF has commented on AEW's newest signing, Adam Copeland, and has sent out a warning of sorts to the WWE Hall of Famer. In the post-AEW WrestleDream scrum, MJF said that Copeland has seemingly joined AEW to take his spot in the promotion, but stated in no uncertain terms that he's going to hold on to his AEW World Championship for some time. But the Salt of the Earth also congratulated Tony Khan for signing the Rated R superstar. Quote, "I think he's another guy that's coming into my company that wants my spot, and he's got another effing thing coming if he thinks he can take it. Great signing though, good job Tony, I'm proud of you, but in all sincerity, first ballot Hall of Famer, incredible professional wrestler," stated MJF. The AEW World Champion then declared that the current AEW roster is one of the best in the history of the business. He also made a faux pas when he called Copeland by his former ring name Edge and was quickly corrected by Tony Khan, who was sitting beside him. Quote, "I don't care, I'm just going to say it. I think bow to bow right now we have one of the best professional wrestling rosters ever in the history of the sport," said MJF. "It's effing insane. MJF, Chris Jericho, Kenny Omega, Jon Moxley, Will Ospreay when he's around, Darby Allin, Christian Cage, Edge, Adam Copeland, Malachi Black, Miro, Will Hobbs, Ricky Starks, Claudio Castagnoli, Eddie Kingston, and it's messed up how good the roster is. Like I said, again, I couldn't be prouder to be at the top of the mountain when you have a roster like this." Now, speaking of MJF as well, he has denied that he was the devil that attacked Jay White on AEW Dynamite last week. At AEW WrestleDream last night, MJF addressed the attack on Jay White from the September 27 episode of Dynamite this past Wednesday. As Dynamite went off the air, a group of 4 masked men attacked White backstage before the camera panned to someone watching on, seemingly the leader of the masked group, who was wearing MJF's signature devil mask. Even though it was MJF's mask, the consensus is that, based on the figure of the person wearing it, it certainly wasn't MJF. In the opening match of the main show of WrestleDream last night, MJF was defending the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships in a handicap match against Vincent and Dutch of the Righteous. The original plan was to have a tag team match with MJF having co-champion Adam Cole by his side, but Cole suffered a seemingly legitimate ankle injury a couple of weeks ago by jumping off the entrance ramp at AEW Dynamite Grand Slam. As he was making his entrance, MJF cut a promo saying it was not him in the devil mask when White was attacked and that his mask had been stolen. MJF eventually retained the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships on behalf of himself and Cole in the match against the Righteous last night, using the ropes for leverage to get the pinfall victory over Dutch after the Heat Seeker. Bryan Danielson has defeated Zack Sabre Jr. in a dream match, I guess the dream, in WrestleDream last night. The American Dragon Bryan Danielson seemingly kicked off his AEW farewell tour in style, emerging victorious in a highly anticipated showdown with Zack Sabre Jr. at the WrestleDream pay-per-view on Sunday night. With his teammate Jon Moxley and longtime rival Nigel McGuinness at the commentary desk, Danielson entered to a thunderous ovation in his home territory, donning the colors of the Seattle Seahawks for the dream match against the English standout. The pair got through the feeling out process without fuss, exchanging holds and reversals before Zack Sabre Jr. took over by targeting the surgically repaired arm of his opponent. Danielson continued to battle through the injury and gained control, hitting a series of patented yes kicks before telling the crowd he plans to kick the head in of Sabre Jr., with a trademark expletive thrown in there for good measure. Both competitors traded pinfall combinations for near falls, earning the adulation of the crowd inside the Climate Pledge Arena, but the striking of Danielson proved to be a major difference throughout large portions of the back and forth contest. In the final stages of the match, Danielson hit a regal plex and the Psycho knee for a 2 count before ultimately securing the victory with an exposed knee to the jaw of Sabre Jr. for the 3 count. After the conclusion of the match, Danielson extended a handshake to Zack Sabre Jr., but his opponent refused and rolled out of the ring, much to the delight, shall we say, of Nigel McGuinness at ringside. Now, let's talk about another match. Swerve Strickland winning the biggest match of his AEW career last night. Swerve Strickland overcame former AEW World Champion Hangman Adam Page in their grudge match at WrestleDream. Page endured through Strickland's spiteful offense, but interference from Prince Nana and a belt shot behind the referee's back simply proved to be too much for him in Seattle. Strickland was facing Page in front of his home state crowd, taking the microphone to rally them behind him before the bell even rang. The match itself proved to be a vindictive contest, with Page isolating the bandaged hand he had driven a pen through during this past week's Dynamite, and Strickland looking to neutralize the right arm used for the buckshot lariat. After trading finisher attempts on the apron, it was Page that struck, first landing a dead eye to Strickland on the steel steps, but he was unable to capitalize as his opponent continually survived attempts at the buckshot lariat and snapped at the right arm. Page required a check from the ringside doctor, but Swerve took advantage to land a Swerve stomp on the apron. After barely surviving a cross-arm breaker submission, Page finally landed the buckshot despite the bad arm. He labored his way into a cover after writhing in pain, but Prince Nana managed to get his client's foot on the rope before the count could be made. His actions, though, got him ejected by the referee, but that distraction proved to be crucial as Strickland took advantage to strike Page with Prince Nana's crown, landing multiple finishes, capped off with the JML driver for the pinfall victory and the huge victory for Swerve. Now, FTR are still the AEW World Tag Team Champions. FTR completed their 10th televised AEW Tag Team title defense at WrestleDream, defeating Aussie Open in an exhilarating match for a rematch from last year's New Japan Pro Wrestling Royal Quest 2 event. The contest saw the challengers come close to winning the titles on multiple occasions, even landing their own version of FTR's Shatter Machine finisher, but finding the resulting pinfall interrupted. As can be accepted, the match was classic and drew "This is awesome" and "Fight Forever" chants from the crowd. FTR themselves landed Shatter Machine and, ginormous Shatter Machine from the top rope to retain their titles after 20 minutes. They will now look forward to a new challenge, and from new number one contenders, the Young Bucks, who won earlier on in the evening. Aussie Open, meanwhile, have now suffered back-to-back defeats at AEW pay-per-view events. In fact, prior to their challenge to FTR, they also sustained a significant loss to Le Sex Gods, that being Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara. They lost the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles to MJF and Adam Cole at All In's 0 Hour event back in August. It must be said, Mark Davis did say after the match that he believes he snapped his wrist, so he could be out of action for quite some time. Again, we'll have to wait and see what happens when it comes to that as well. Now, speaking of the Young Bucks as well, I mentioned they won that four-way match to become the new number one contenders for the AEW World Tag Team titles. The expectation is that we'll see FTR versus the Young Bucks 4 at Full Gear in November. But during the match, there was an injury, and it's actually, I guess, a reoccurrence of an injury that happened a couple of weeks ago. During the show, as I mentioned, there was a four-way number one contender tag team match with the Young Bucks, the Lucha Brothers, the Gun Brothers, and the team of Hook on Orange Cassidy. The Bucks won the match, but that's not the end of the story. Early on in the match, Rey Fenix was taken to the back and wasn't seen again. Fenix had recently suffered an injury on the same spot that Jon Moxley suffered a concussion during their Dynamite Grand Slam match, so it's possible it's related to that. In fact, Fenix was only cleared very shortly before his match against Jeff Jarrett earlier last week for the AEW International Championship due to those injury concerns. Details as of right now still quite few and far between. Of course, if we get them, we'll let you know in a future video. Chris Statlander is still the AEW TBS champion. She continued her reign as the champion, defeating rising star Julia Hart in an entertaining bout at WrestleDream on Sunday. Hart entered first in trademark eerie fashion, accompanied by Brody King, before the champion made her own way down to the ring to a strong ovation in Seattle. Statlander gained the early ascendancy in the bout, utilizing her size and power advantage before the presence of King at ringside allowed Hart to take control and earn a couple of near falls. The 21-year-old would continue to attack the ribs of Statlander, locking in an abdominal stretch before the champion hit back with a picture-perfect power slam. Down the home stretch, Statlander would hit a Blue Thunder bomb for a 2 count before wisely dodging the missed attempt from Hart moments later. The larger competitor went up to the top rope, but the move backfired momentarily, with Hart tossing her off and nailing a moonsault. However, Statlander managed to get her leg on the rope to prevent a shocking loss. The midsection injury continued to come into play and impact Statlander, who reversed a submission hold and hit 2 pile drivers for a 3 count. Statlander has remained undefeated since her return earlier this year at Double or Nothing back in May, including 2 straight victories over the previously undefeated Jade Cargill. She is the defeater of the undefeated. Finally, Eddie Kingston still is a double champion. Eddie Kingston completed his first Ring of Honor World title defense at WrestleDream. He overcame Katsuyori Shibata in a double title match with his New Japan Strong Openweight Championship on the line. The match itself saw the challenger dominate the champion with submissions and grappling offense. Kingston struggled to get back into the bout, but found his way with a series of strikes capped off with a spinning back fist. However, Shibata endured and further returned fire, with the pair going blow for blow in a standing exchange. Kingston got the better of the striking exchange, landing multiple back fists and a Northern Lights bomb to no avail as the challenger kicked out of both attempts. Kingston refused to let Shibata back into the bout, however, landing yet another back fist followed by a venomous powerbomb to secure the victory. Eddie Kingston won the Ring of Honor World Championship at AEW Dynamite Grand Slam, simultaneously retaining his New Japan Strong Openweight title in a title versus title stipulation against his arch rival Claudio Castagnoli. He also defended his Strong Openweight title against Rocky Romero on AEW Rampage on Friday night. But there you go, guys. This latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.